Wait till this green light lights up. And there
Oh,
we are. I believe we are live, guys. And in case we're not, I'm going to say that again. I believe we are live now. We welcome you to the latest episode of the Sim Standard Podcast, along with myself, SimFBallCritic, and with Smitty. And we're ready to jump into this thing, man. It looks like, there we go. Looks like we were delaying a little bit, but I think we're okay now. So yeah, welcome, guys. We appreciate everybody who will be coming on. We appreciate everybody who may already be there. And just making sure we are live. Yep, looks like we are live. So we'll get right into it, man. I'll let you know what we're going to talk about. We want to lean a little bit on you guys tonight. Not a whole lot of news to talk about. Not a lot of stuff to get into tonight. So we have a couple topics that we think will basically get us through a good portion of the show. But we also want to rely on you guys. Anything that you might throw at us on the fly. Maybe Smitty and I can also talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs since they've started. We'll give our quick synopsis on who looks good, who looks surprising, etc., etc. Then, what we will be talking about from there is we want to talk about some information that we saw. Shout outs to the Four Verts. Our guy Sonny, I believe, is who runs that account over there. He put out an interesting tweet, man, and Smitty and I want to break it down. He was referring to Madden, and it says here, basically, we will be talking about gameplay mechanics that are asked for and not necessarily used. I will read his exact tweet, and then, before we discuss it, I will read the exact tweet so you guys know the premise of that. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, man, was where do we draw the line with simulation gameplay? And I'm going to leave you guys with a cliffhanger on that one because I know you guys are probably wondering, what am I talking about? So we'll dive into that, give my standpoint of what I'm referring to, and I'm sure Smitty will have something to add on to that. And like I said, man, whatever we see in the comment section, if you guys want to throw something at us, we'll pick it up. We'll talk about that. And I've decided as well, I didn't discuss this with Smitty, but I know Smitty probably feels the same way with this. We have basically a 2-hour time slot, but, I realize sometimes it might not be 2 hours worth of content. And, just kind of watching other podcasts, not even in gaming, just watching how people do their thing. I don't want to get to a point where we're trying to force stuff. So if we finish before 2 hours, we'll just finish. It's better to have solid content instead of having dead air. That's just how I feel about anything. I know when I listen to stuff and it seems like they're talking all over the place and they're just trying to throw fillers in, it's not that attractive to me, so I don't want us to become that. All right, so just giving you guys that heads up. So let's go ahead and get it started, Smitty, man. I'll throw it to you first in terms of the NBA playoffs. Still early, but what has surprised you so far? Any surprise teams or any surprise performances for the good or for the bad for individual players?
well, I definitely will say Donovan Mitchell is playing great basketball.
Lights out.
That's like if that ain't rookie of the year, you know what I'm saying? Like I really don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That he's rookie of the year, man. You can't give it to Ben Simmons on that. They balling, they're all balling respectively, but at the same time, this guy, hurts his ankle. No, I'm good. I ain't gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit down for a hot sec. Let me get right back out there on the floor and get it in. Like, that's that true grit right there. And I'm pissed with Stan Van Gundy because we could have drafted him. You know what I'm saying? So like that's a big thing right there. But no, Drew Holiday. He's
locked.
in.
Pissed every time I see this dude play, man.
Yeah,
Philly fans would know why. Jesus, man.
Hey, that's bad management right there. That's bad management because
trust the process.
He's locking. Yeah, he's locking. You know what I mean? Locking guys. But the thing, it's interesting to see him step up like this. I wonder if this would have happened if Boogie was there. See, that's the other part of the equation too.
Good point.
If Boogie was there, would he be able to? Would he have this kind of performance? Would he even get the chance to touch the ball like that because of Boogie being there too? Those guys, him and AD, they command a lot of the shots. So that that's why they didn't look as complete of a team. But you had guys that could give it to you every night out there. So it's amazing. I mean, they're really the shocking team for me right now to see them go up 2-0 in their series. And I mean, I got I got to give it to LeBron. The other night, 46 points. I mean, whew, bruh, you know what I'm saying? And but that's not necessarily a good look when you only win by 3 and you drop 46. Yeah, 46, and what he had like 10 assists or nearly 10 assists or whatever.
Yeah.
So you contributed
just shy of a triple double.
Yeah, so like you contributed a lot of the offensive production. And then I think they lost Kevin Love as well. Like he had a hand injury or something like that. So I don't know. I mean, you're going back to Indiana. You barely that's crazy to say you barely won and you nearly got a triple double, but you barely won. Like that and Indiana wasn't, everybody wasn't clicking on all cylinders like that too. So that lets you know, like, hey, they could go to Indiana and really turn it up. So we'll see what happens with that. But otherwise, I mean, those are really the main surprises for me out of the playoffs. Toronto going up, like, look, this is first round, first round of the playoffs. Toronto, usually they do their thing in the first round. My thing is when it comes to the next round and whomever it is they're matched up against, are we going to see those two main guys? Are we going to see DeRozan and Lowry? Are we going to see them freeze up all of a sudden, just pretty much vanish in the next round? Or are they really going to step it up? So we got to wait and see what happens with that. But all in all, I mean, it's a very entertaining playoffs so far. And Eric Bledsoe, come on, fam. You can't sit up here and talk about something you don't know who my man Rozier, you don't know who he is. This brother lit you up for 27, bro. You got to chill with all that. Just because he made a mistake on your name. Yeah, he made a mistake. He made an honest mistake on your name. Come on, fam. Oh, and this one definitely got a shout out. Rest in peace, and definitely, definitely condolences to Popovich. His wife had passed away yesterday, and that's jacked up in any circumstance, regardless of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to definitely prayers go out to them. And one other person as well. This guy's a gamer. I never met the guy. But I've seen from my Twitter timeline people that knew him, and he's a guy. His Twitter handle's Xbox Addict, and he had passed away the other day. Like he had got real sick, and then a few days later he had passed away. So, and I mean, this brother was a huge Xbox gamer. Like if you see his Twitter page, he's got like his whole room is like decked out with Xbox like games, controls, all that. So he's like a thoroughbred gamer, very positive guy from everything I've heard and all that. And it's just like a real jacked up situation for him to just be gone just like that. So it's like, I definitely wanted to, give my condolences to him and his family as well. You know what I'm saying? So just, thinking of that off the cuff, because we talk about gaming here and everything, and that's somebody that is a gamer respectively, even though I don't know the person, but there are other people I follow and that follow me, and I saw it. So just want to acknowledge that as well. So, but all in all, on the lighter side of things, playoffs are looking really good right now. Very entertaining. I'm loving, how this is all unfolding. And the crazy part about it all, Sim, is that when we initially seen the move with KD going to Golden State, we're like, man, you might as well pencil in the finals. And it's like, not really, because you look at, the stuff with Cleveland is more on the unexpected side, but I'm saying just in general, it's a very entertaining NBA. Very entertaining NBA. So I'm loving everything that's going on, man. And definitely Joel Embiid. I definitely want that man to be careful out there. I
Yeah,
know he got the face mask on and all that, but they were reporting potentially if he gets a good shot at that eye, he could have permanent eye damage. So it's like be, as careful as he could be. Definitely be that. So
yeah.
hopefully he can, protect himself as best as he can out there.
Got to be careful, man. I see we got a 2-point lead, so it's what I expected, man. Miami is not going to lay down. I mean, listen, it's a veteran-led team with Dwayne Wade. And like I said before, man, the Sixers, my guys, they're young guys. I mean, yeah, they can ball, but, you hear it all the time. I mean, I've never played in a professional sport, but I have to take the word of all these professional athletes that say the playoffs is different. I mean, we hear it in basketball. We hear it in football. I mean, I would have to imagine that it's different. And they always say how key experience and stuff like that is. And my Sixers don't have it. So, I think we could get past Miami. But, hey, you never know. Never know. Oh, and somebody just said the mask
Oh, the
broke and he's
mask
on the
broke?
bench.
Oh, man. Wow.
And listen, as a Sixer fan, I should have wore the hat tonight, man. Maybe that's bad luck not wearing it, but I'm just glad to see my guys relevant. I mean, y'all know me. I'm always a realistic fan, even with the Steelers. I'm not one of those Sixers guys saying we're going to the final. No. we might not get out the first round. That's facts, But I'm just glad to see that they're on the rise. They got a great little nucleus of players. I think they're going to be a strong team for the next couple years, and that's all you can be happy about. I would like to see them get this series, but hey, if Embiid is hurt, that's one of our main reasons why we were good. Him along with Ben Simmons. So if he's not really going to be able to play, and like y'all say, the mask is broken and such, let's just be realistic about it, people. Outside of that, man, I won't hold up too much time. Donovan Mitchell, is continuing to prove why I'm not going to be biased here. I think he probably does deserve to be Rookie of the Year, being an actual rookie. I know what the rules say, but, I mean, this dude is showing it, even in the playoffs. Big Cat, man. What is going on with Karl Anthony Towns, man? I mean, I watched the game last night, and he's just, he's just not getting enough shots. And it's interesting. Let me tell y'all this, guys, and bouncing off the topic just slightly, then I'll come right back to it. It's the same reason why y'all hear me say that Tony Romo has become my favorite commentator in the NFL. And the reason why, I love when ex-players are the ones either analyzing things or they're commentating games. And listening to Shaq and Chuck last night, when they were saying, listen, regardless of the play, and Kenny was saying it too, as a big, you in the paint on a little guy. Why are you, like they were saying, why are you continuing to run the play to go out of the paint to get back in the paint? Shaq was saying, and even Charles was like, man, I miss the days when big men play like big men. And we seen it. Guys of our era, we seen that when Shaq was like, yo, they didn't care what the play was. Throw the ball in here. This mouse in the house. This is easy. And that's what I'm saying, man. Charles was, I know some people going to say Charles was being harsh, but I think he was telling the truth. He was saying, this dude got to get in the gym, man, and work on his game. He don't have a whole lot of options, and he doesn't have a lot of wiggle, when it comes to just being a big. He's running out to the paint, running out to the post, the perimeter trying to shoot threes, and you got mismatches. It's times, guys, if you watch the game where you've seen Chris Paul on Karl Anthony Towns in the paint, and the ball ain't being fed to him, nor is he asking for it. I'm like, come on, man. You supposed to be the man, I don't know.
That's these kids coming out of college too early, man. They ain't staying in there long enough to get taught how to play their position.
It's crazy, man. And I know he's talented, but come on, man, you got to work on that because they on the verge of getting swept if they don't be careful. Because James Harden, man, I didn't know this. I'm gonna be honest and tell y'all. I didn't know the dude was this nice when he was with OKC. I didn't know that. James Harden to me, no, I didn't. Think about it. Let me tell y'all why.
Really?
I watched the games, but I'm so focused on. Let me rewind time a little bit. Y'all know how reckless Russell used to be, so I'm all focused on why this dude is so reckless. He's not a real. I loved him, but I was like, he's not a point guard. And then you got KD, and then James come off the bench and he dropped some numbers, but I didn't pay attention to him as being that nice until he got on his own. And now what he's grown to, I'm like, yo, you can't stop this dude, man. I don't want to say I've never seen nothing like it, but it's crazy. Like, it's not too many times we've seen a player and you know what he's going to do. You know he's going to give you the little shimmy and step back and rain a three on you. And it goes in 60, 70% of the time. It's crazy. This dude is crazy. And then when he has an off night, Chris Paul just embarrassing folks last night. I mean, like Shaq and them said, Harlem Globetrotters out there, man. Just make your dudes look silly. So that's a surprise, man, seeing Cat play the way he's playing. Like Smitty said, Drew Holiday, man, I get so mad. Because, guys, us Philly fans know how many guards did we get out of there in the last 6, 7 years. I don't understand it. We had Lou Williams. I mean, Michael Carter Williams hasn't necessarily turned out to be the man, but just look at the people we had, man. We had Iggy at one time. We had Evan Turner. We had Drew Holiday. I mean, I don't know what Philly was doing. And I'm not saying I'm not happy with what we got now, but, I really like Drew Holiday, and it really hurt me when they let him walk. But he's balling. Good to see him do that. And like Smitty said, man, rest in peace to, Pop's wife and, all the people that may have passed. I did see somebody said it here in the chat, and I saw it too. Barbara Bush passed.
Oh yeah.
Whether you like the Bushes or not, I mean, that was somebody that you knew. So it always sucks to see people, and like Smitty said, man, this guy that was a gamer, that sucks. That's something we all do, but we can't forget that life is what it is. Like, this is why, guys, I don't let all this little nonsense get on my nerves and stuff, because this ain't the real world. There's people out here like this man that passed away. Oh, let me say another crazy story really quick, guys. Then we'll jump into the topic. Speaking of that, and I hate to put any shine on death, so to speak, but did y'all hear about that situation with Southwest? Did you hear about that, Smitty?
No.
Man, and it's crazy because I fly Southwest all the time. I can't remember where they were at. I want to say it might have been Philly or something like that, but I think they were going to Philly or leaving Philly or Boston, something like that. One of the engines blow off or something.
Oh, okay.
Hits the window. Blows the lady out the window, right? And the other people on the plane, other passengers trying to pull her back in. And, they held her or whatever and got her in, but, because of the wind and all that stuff, it just beat her up so bad that she passed. But here's the crazy thing. Nobody else was injured, really. They emergency landing. Everybody walked away. But I'm, thinking, how freak of an accident is that? Who's thinking that's going to happen? Even if you are paranoid about a plane crash, who's thinking that they're going to get sucked out of the window or halfway out of the window? Just crazy, man. Dallas. Okay, somebody said it was in Dallas.
Oh, it was in Dallas.
That's crazy. That just,
wow.
So I say all that to say this, man. I don't want to put everybody in a somber mood, man. Just, count your blessings. It's way more important things than, some of this nonsense that people talk about on Twitter and gaming and blah, blah, blah. There's real world stuff going on out here. But anyway, guys, let's get into some gaming action. Let me see, Smitty, where we want to start, man? Do we want to go into the simulation gameplay thing, or do you want to attack the comment or the tweet that 4Verts put out there?
We could do the 4Verts joint first, or then we can do the meat and potatoes thing afterwards.
All right, great. Let's go ahead and do that, guys. I'm going to read the tweet, and then we'll have Smitty respond to it first, and then we'll chop it up a little bit there. So basically, for you guys that don't know, at T4Verts, 4 verticals, y'all have heard us talk about them plenty of times. You know, Sonny Weaver over there. I believe it's Sonny that does the 4 Verticals podcast. We referred to them, you know, in regards to, I get them confused sometimes, Smitty, because I know most of them are lumped into MBL. So I think Sonny is the one that does 4 Verts. If not, I apologize, but you guys know I mingle with all of you guys. I just sometimes forget, you know, who runs what account. But anyway, interesting tweet he put out there, man, in regards to Madden. He says, we will give a... I'm reading what me and Smitty was going to say. Let me read the tweet. Here it is. He says, it's readily accepted that target passing was a miss, but how often is ID to Mike getting used? It feels like people ask for these skill gap mechanics, but when they go underused, he wonders how you get more people using these things that development time is invested in, and as far as creating, you know, what is the answer? Is it more tutorials? That's basically what he's saying. So I'll read that again to make sure you guys got it. You know, Twitter sometimes is choppy, so I'm trying to piece it together where you can clearly understand what he's saying. He's basically saying, guys, most of us can agree that target passing was a miss. I would like to say it still was a great idea, just maybe didn't translate that well. And he says, how often is ID to Mike being used? He feels like the people ask for a lot of skill mechanic gaps, but then they go underused. And he says he wonders how you get more people using these things that development time is invested in when they're creating them. You know, is the answer more tutorials, or what is the answer? So what you got on that, Smitty, man? How do you feel about his tweet in general? I know you definitely wanted to share your thoughts on it, because that's why we're talking about it here as a topic.
Yeah. Now, what I want to say about, well, first of all, I saw earlier on that Clint did reply to it and say that from their internal data that it is used a lot. And it's something that they're going to be refining going forward. So I'm like, cool. So that's what's up. But outside of that, though, this is the thing about it. Like, to the question. These, like, I know we got the skill trainer and everything, right? That's cool. But Madden needs to have something where, where, yes, you got the tutorial, that's your option. But at the same time, you should have something that you can bring up. You could bring up on, like, in the pause menu, or as you make adjustments, that you can see pluses and minuses. Like 2K18, right? They've had in their game for years what ice means, what trap is, what, you know what I mean? Like, all the different ways you can defend, the different kind of offensive base sets and everything that you can use for your coach. And they tell you what the pros and the cons are of those sets in the menu. So you can see, you know, if you want to use Bluff Blitz, or if you want to use 4-3, like, for example, if you're looking through the menu and you want to have those aids, you want to see what the 4-3 does. Talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of the 4-3. Talk about the strengths of the the strength and weaknesses of it being shifted. 4-3 over, 4-3 under, 4-3 over plus. You know, like, what, you see what I'm saying? Like, you need to break that. You need to break that down. Like, what is it good for covering? As far as man coverage, as far as zone coverage, you know, would it be best to have, you see what I'm saying? Like, so that way people can just see it and see, okay, using this kind of play call, these are the pros and cons that I have for that. So then that way, you know, going forward, and then you look at your personnel, and you can see, okay, do I have a linebacker that would be necessarily quick enough to cover the outside, like, for example, for a 3-4? Do I have outside linebackers that have the speed to really crash down if need be for a blitz, or to cover the run? Are they good? Are they honestly good enough to also cover, you know, play decent coverage defense as well as rush in on and try and stop a run? if you don't have that kind of personnel, you see what I'm saying? Okay, I'm not going to run that kind of defense. I'm not going to use that defensive set. We don't have anything in the game that goes into that at all. It's just people are playing, and I mean we're relying on the community to break things down. And I understand, yes, EA puts out blogs at times about stuff. Yes, Clint, Rex, they do interviews at times, and we see all of those different things that are done, but it's not it's not sufficient, because when people fire up the game, they're not going to be thinking about a podcast that, oh, Rex did say this. Oh, Clint did say this before. Like, they're not going to go off of that. They're going to go off of what they see in the game that they can pull directly from. So like NFL 2K5, if I'm not mistaken, they had like the reference book in the back, and like in the game, but it was in the menu, and you can actually look at the football terminology. They had like they have the resource there, so you could see it. I'm saying take it to a level like what 2K did, because that's great. You have the offense and defensive adjustments, and they tell you what's good and bad or both. No matter what. If you use something that's very generic, very bone-based, it's like, okay, yes, I use this, but there's still going to be pluses and minuses to it. And then if you got the wrong personnel for it, there it is. It still is a problem. So, and like, I know that, like, we touched base on the target passing aspect before, is because the game isn't what the okay. So, and I agree with that too, London, with what you're saying. But like, what I was about to say was with the passing mechanic, is that I had issue with, was I got to be standing perfectly still, and the receivers got to run the routes, which are all things that I have issues with. I have issues with the way receivers run routes. I have issues with, just them going up for catches, because sometimes I'll throw the ball. I could pinpoint a pass and use the target pass, and I could throw it to a spot that I want it to be thrown to, and I want my receiver to jump up and go after it, and instead they'll just put their hands out, while the defender over top will run up and he'll jump for it, but my guy won't. You see what I'm saying? So it's like there's elements that are problematic. But to the main point, though, like what I was saying before, having everything shown in some kind of interface or menu style would be very beneficial. Even if you have it in a tutorial, like I said, you could have it in your skill trainer, but you need to have the general options, like the general descriptive of what you use, pluses, minus. Great for pass defense, great for this. These are the this is the pluses, these are the minuses. Put it in and have something off to the side on screen that tells you that. So that way you can learn from it. You know what I mean? Like having, like what they did, what was it, Madden 16 or 17, where they had a coach giving narrative breakdown as far as the different zone coverages and all that stuff, and like even with the passing, like what routes, what they're good for and what they're strong against. That's cool. I like that. I like that premise, but take it the extra step. Make it a bit more simpler. It doesn't have to be something where you have to play through it. Because as you see, like I said, looking at NBA 2K again, you have your they did something like that before. They had the training camp in, what was that, 2K13, where it was like you had to go through all those steps, but I never went all the way through it because it took so dang long. You know what I mean? So I just said, scratch that. I'll look on YouTube and find the stuff that I want to use. Now, but what they have in their menu now, that's clean. That is crystal clean. And it's right there. Now, if I want to practice a 4-3, practice a dime, practice a nickel, and see those different benefits of it, I could go into practice and say, okay, 4-3 is good for this, this, that, and the third. It's bad against this, that, and the third. Let me test that out. And then I could go into practice mode, and when I pick my plays based off the formations, it still is going to tell me that same description. Pros, cons. All right, let me test this out. And then I'll go try it out and see what it does. So in that way, I'm learning, though. You see what I'm saying? I'm learning what the strengths are of this formation from a general standpoint, and then now you're talking about using the different defenses. So then from there, I can be more situational. Okay, you know what? I don't have fast linebackers like that. So since I don't, I may not want to use this formation in this kind of scenario. Maybe in the red zone, it'll be cool for me to use this because the cons outweigh it, especially when you have guys that are more on the casual side or don't really understand the elements of football like that. Now you put it right in front of their face. This is what's good. This is what's bad. And they can see it right there in front of them. So cool. Now they could go ahead and when they play Madden, they could have the coach pick all the plays or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Pick the suggested play and call it a day. But at least they got that option that's helping them be more informed. And, you know, you keep seeing it, it's going to help register. So that's how I feel about
it. Man, that is a lot, man. Round of applause to Smitty. Man, what an explanation. Hard to follow that, man, but I mean, you guys know that's what we do. You know, we're going to take it to the next level. We're not just going to keep it at the surface. It's so many different factors that could possibly tie into that. You know, like Smitty said, I mean, just piggybacking off of the knowing the personnel and all that type of stuff, being able to practice these things situationally, instead of, you know, you having to do the old labbing and, let me get 2 joysticks and all. You should just be able to, number one, set up the scenarios and then figure out where your pros and cons are. I know Smitty would probably know the name of this feature because he usually remembers these things. But what was it called, man, when Madden had it where Collinsworth would go back and tell you what happened? What was that called?
Oh, the rewind. Rewind?
I would say bring something like that back also to help teach the game. Kind of like what... I'm starting to feel that again playing MLB The Show. I love when they go back and tell you what actually happened, why it happened, and then the commentary matches it. Smitty said this before. Charles Davis seems to do that from time to time in the commentary when he's saying what should have happened and why this guy got beat. But in reality, on the field, that's not even really what happened.
Right, exactly.
So yeah. There's ways to do stuff like that, and I think it could be more utilized. But you just got to find a better way to put it out in people's faces to let them know why they need to learn this feature and how it would benefit them and how it is a football thing. I mean, a lot of us in the simulation crowd, we loved ID to Mike. But even with that, there's a lot of people that don't use these mechanics. There are plenty of them. I mean, even in the leagues you play in, you can tell when people are using things. You watch a stream, and it's times that I don't even use it either when I play, but it's times that I don't have to. Because I know where the guy's sending pressure from, and I know I'm not even going to deal with that. I'm going to have time. But you can tell when people are using ID to Mike. You can definitely tell when they're using it because you get that little mechanic. If you're watching their stream, I mean, you get that little visual. Stuff like target passing, man, I mean, I liked the idea. I was all over the idea. I think the real problem with target passing was it was too hard to replicate, being able to still replicate the time in the pocket and allowing you adequate time to use the mechanic. But here's the thing, touching back on what Smitty said about knowledge. Here's the thing that I don't think they ever told the public. You might have heard them say it every now and then on Twitter or something like that. But it was never intended to be a every down thing. Like Rex said this verbatim. when we thought about this, we would think people would use it situationally. Now, here's the funny thing. When I learned about the feature, that's immediately what I thought. Like, oh, I could see me using this in the red zone to throw a fade, or like in a couple of the videos I made, swing route. You know, it was times when I used it and I knew it would work. I knew I would have time. But it did take away your mobility in the pocket. It's just, it was tough. The mechanic didn't necessarily match the speed of the game, so to speak. And I think that's where it hurt. But I think if more people would have took time to play with it, I know Smitty and I both played with it extensively. I like target passing. It's just that I didn't feel like I had a realistic time to pull off the mechanic and still watch pressure and still avoid guys. That's where the miss was at. But I mean, it was fairly easy to use. I mean, I still have a tutorial video on my channel right now that showed people exactly how to use it. Even showed you the advanced way, where you can use it really quick. You know, you just click the icon instead of holding it down, the trigger, you just click it and move it, boom, and you do like a free range throw to whoever's in the area. So I don't want to see it go away. However, I think, if I'm being honest, guys, well, you know what? I'm going to stay away from that one because obviously you guys know why. But I will say this. I don't know if it will return because just listen to how Rex replied and things he said about it. Now, in the point of where I've had the opportunity to, you know, visit, certain things are still up in the air. You know, so it's, you know, I couldn't confirm or deny anything at this point anyway. But what I'm saying is, it's early enough to where things could definitely change. So you know, just because if I assume something or whatever, that still might not be the case. You know, I look forward to seeing things progress. And this is where, you know, a lot of times what we fight with and what we deal with is we see things very early. We see the midpoint, we see the almost done point, and we see the final point. And a lot of times things change. So I don't know whether to be there or not. I just get the feeling that could be one of the things that you might not see because it just didn't seem like, if you look at the tweets from Rex and maybe even Clint, they've clearly said that was a miss. And, you know, anytime you hear people say stuff like that, I would assume that might not be there, or maybe they will refine it. I don't know. I don't know. Target passing really wasn't something that was on my mind, you know, even when I've had the opportunity to, you know, kind of, you know, to visit this year. But I hate to see it go, man. In my opinion, I would rather see them build on, sort of like me and Smitty was talking about this before the show started. I would like to see more of a maximum passing type of thing that 2K had. Expand on what you have with the lead passing and try to find ways to make it more precise, whether that's a ratings gap or I don't know how you do it. But I think that mechanic was a bit much. Maybe back in the day, Smitty, when we played games like FIFA, maybe we didn't have as many other options. I don't know. It seemed easier then. But for whatever reason, I could see people who say target passing was too hard. And I could understand people like myself that could use it. But even still, I could see where it was some difficulty there. So,
well, see, you know, something I want to add on, especially from what you're saying, because you triggered some things in my mind that I was thinking about the other day. When you bring up the points about, you know, like, oh, and even in the chat, got to give it to my man Zulu. You know, shout out to you. But the big time overarching problem with Madden and these mechanics is that the core gameplay is not definitively challenging enough. It doesn't make you want to use these mechanics like that. Like, I don't have to use ID the mic. I don't have to. And the other thing is, I could use ID the mic, but my pass blocking still will act up. It'll still act funky on me. You see what I'm saying? For whatever reason. when we talk about, like I said, we talk about the passing, but at the same time, we still have wideout DB interactions where they're stuck in these one-to-one engagements. It's two-man animation. I could see my receiver have wide open space. He's got a gap. He's got a small gap. And like I said, football being a game of inches, he's got a small gap between him and that defender. FIFA showcases that game of inches, having those slight edges. NHL does it at times as well. PES does it too. But when it comes to Madden, though, when I throw that ball up there, guess what? Suction time. Gap like this. My receiver's here, DB's in the back. All of a sudden, swoop, just a suction together, and the DB comes away with the ball. So it's like you're killing the difference. So then when you have that happen, it's like, well, then what's the point? And that's one of the things that I made a point about, like with Madden 17. When I talked about that, and Madden 17 and 16 and 15 and 25, all those different elements all have been watered down to some degree, because we're like, these are the things that create the gaps. And this, even with this question being asked, the gaps, yes, they're there, but do I need to use these mechanics? Why do I need to use these mechanics? Like, let's say, okay, Sim, you and I are playing FIFA, right? Let's say we're really good at playing FIFA, and we're playing in a league, and we're going up against each other. If I just use the basic pass and shoot mechanics, I could use those potentially effectively against you. The main reason why is because the core functionality of the game is tangible to the point where I can use that. But you could come at me and use all the tools. You could use the trick moves. You could do the curved shots, the curved lob passes, all those things on me. And you can end up scoring goals on me and everything. But I could do the exact same thing to you. The main reason why is because, once again, the base core is there. You got pursuit angles. You have tangible animations that depict our positioning respectively. If you juke me out, I'm not forced into an animation where I just get pulled out of the way even though I'm taking a direct beeline at you to stop you. Like, there are various things that I'm not being moved out of the way just because. Madden, on the other hand, you get shifted out of the way. NBA, and my man Live King is in here. NBA Live, you get shifted and pulled into animations forcibly.
Don't forget,
you know 2K. What I mean? Oh, 2K, no doubt, no question, 2K all day.
Because people tell me, Smitty, that no, they don't happen in 2K. Really?
Yeah, okay. I don't know what you playing, but it happens, and that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Like, we've streamed it and done vids and stuff like that, and we see what happens. So that's why I'm like, when it happens in FIFA, I'm like, this is the stuff that we need to see in Madden. This is what takes it to the next level. And I mean, real talk, I would see, if you see the kind of play that happens in FIFA, how, all the tangible things that we've all talked about we brought up on this show here, and we see that stuff happen in Madden, those tournaments would be way more entertaining, because the dynamic of the gameplay dynamic would be on a lot more unique of a level, instead of how canned it is. Like, it's very canned, it's very limited. And, but that's the main point, is that it's just that the gameplay in Madden, it's not a requirement for me to have to use these given mechanics in the game. I'm okay with just using the basics right now.
That's a big
issue. What I mean? And that's a big time problem. Like, that fear keeps getting took away. And I seriously hope with these mode settings, I know Madden 18 it wasn't there, but I'm glad they at least put the modes in. But I seriously hope with Madden 19 that we're able to see that those gaps between the modes really stand out now. And it's straight up, even if I could have a 65 overall defensive back, he still is going to make tangible plays. He's not just going to lay eggs out there and just stand there looking like a deer in headlights. You know what I mean? Like, we got to have that happen, because FIFA and PES do it. We got to have the exact same thing happening in Madden. That doesn't mean they're going to be great players, though, but they're able to make plays, they're able to make stops, they're able to convert because they are players on that level. You know what I'm saying? So, but just want to add that on, man.
Yeah, man, you're right, man. It's a lot of that stuff that doesn't really matter so much, man. I mean, me and Smitty could go on for days and days and days. I mean,
yeah.
Think about it. Some of the ID to Mike might not even be necessary with the right personnel. You know what I mean? Like, what if you just got the way your line is constructed and stuff? Like, they pick these things up because they're just that in sync. Or you got a guy that just completely dominates the opposing blitzer or rusher. It's so many things, man, that the game needs before I feel like I have to use these mechanics. But it's still a good point. It is a lot of things that were offered in the game that people don't use. Prime example as well, and Kia mentioned it a little earlier in one of his comments here. I still see people that don't utilize high and low pass, elevated bullets. The touch pass, I agree with Kia, is a little floaty. I would like to see that toned up a bit, man, where, I know the idea is to just lob it over a linebacker's head, but we've all had that time where you see the safety, he hasn't started to come down yet. You have your tight end or whoever in between the safety and the underneath player, usually a user-controlled backer. The touch pass is supposed to just lob it over his head. But how often have we seen that turn into a lob pass? And it stays in the air way too long. See? Get that fixed. And maybe it shouldn't happen all the time. But we see this happen in the NFL all the time. Like how Brady just lobs at the Gronk. And he did it against us quite a few times. And you'll have to make the adjustment as the user. Or maybe now, if they fix coverage, you tell your guy to play off a little bit. You would have to adjust. I'm pretty sure if the defense was playing the way it's supposed to and the zone rules are there and they use leveraging and all of that and mid-reads are working, you could take that away. You could definitely take it away. Put a guy in buzz or something. I mean, there's ways to take that away if the game is working properly. So don't think that it would work all of the time. I'm just talking about those situations where you catch a guy in the right coverage, you're like, oh, he's open. But how many times have y'all seen me do it? Even when I play offline and I forget, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot to, pass it the right way, and it, I can't get it over the linebacker. But even if I tried to do the touch pass, he's gonna float it too much. So now I've gotten into the habit, pro tip if you want to call it. A lot of times I'll throw an elevated bullet. I'll just throw it high, and that'll still get over him enough, but it won't sail. So just little stuff like that, man. People don't use those mechanics. They rarely use them. And it's crazy. I'll be watching, man. People rarely use them. People rarely use maximum pass protection. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's things in the game, and I think for Verts has a great point. Is if they're not being used and these things are taking up development time, is there like a crossroads where we kind of have to say, okay, we want these realistic elements in the game because we're all sim heads. We want the real stuff happening. But is it going to come to a point where the developers or whoever else is saying, man, well, why push it to the limit if people are not even using it? It reminds me of what 757, and he's in here, he said it a long time ago. We need as many buttons as possible. I remember him saying that years ago. Yeah. We can't be afraid of button combinations and all of that because other games got them. Like, we got to put more and more detail and user control detail into the game. But I get it. If people ask for this stuff and they don't even use it, it's kind of like it's a wash. If you're looking at it as from a dev might look at that like, wow, it took us a long time to get that in. But it's cool to hear those guys say, yeah, I think we kind of missed the mark with target passing. That to me, I love hearing that from a developer, just coming out and saying, look, I don't think we didn't get what we really wanted right there. So there you have it, man. And let me see. Kia says meant to come into play. Clint spoke about it before the game came out. Not sure how much it. Okay, yeah, he said that's where the C's awareness rating is meant to come into the play. Talking about the center, I'm assuming. And yeah, and Kia made another good point. A lot of times, man, referencing what Smitty said is putting it out there in everybody's faces, and with these, maybe expanding skill trainer. Like Kia was saying, a lot of times what's said in the blogs don't always translate on the field.
Exactly.
Or we don't have a real way to know if it's working, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, I say, man, they need to also, outside of putting it available in the game, they need to go back to when they used to do the playbooks.
Yes.
Because the people who will want to tune in will tune in. I know you're not going to get all 6 or 7 million, however many copies they sell. I haven't checked with that, but you're not going to get all of your customers to tune into that. And I know some people might say, oh, it's a waste of time. No, it's not. Your high-level players, like your comp guys, they'll tune in. So they know all the new features and they already are ready to use them. Because I tell y'all what, the comp dudes, those guys be using these mechanics way more than any of us. I will openly admit that. I be seeing these dudes, the high level ones now. I ain't talking about, some of the guys who sneak their way in there. I'm talking about the high level guys. I see them using mechanics all the time. I'm like, oh man, I forgot you could do that. Right? You need to have those playbooks so you can explain it to people, and us hardcore gameplay people always have a reference point where we can go back and view a demo. It's just like what I do at my job. We train people on how to run their company's training portal. And a lot of times the easiest thing that for me is to tell them, well, look, I know I just showed you how to do it, but hey, there's a tutorial right here too where you can just watch that. And it'll walk you step by step. And y'all have no idea how many people is like, oh, you know what? Thank you for that. Because it's much easier than just reading. Exactly. Show us. Have a place where it shows us what's going on. We'll always have that resource. And then, like Smitty said, it's somewhere in the game, too, where it's, the rewind feature or something. It's ways to sprinkle it in there. Oh, this guy should have ID'd the mic. He blitzed to the left side, but he blocked his guys to the right. I mean, it's ways to do it, man. But
Madden, you know what? And this would be a perfect layout. I mean, I know it's a different menu layout and everything, but Madden 08, it had it in there. You can pause the game. What's new? It told you everything. Page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it had it all descripted there. We got the weapon system. Oh, what are the different weapons? Well, you got this one. You got that one. This is what it does. These are the pros. If you want to counter it, what do you counteract it with? With this kind of ability. I mean, that kind of stuff is in there. You can do the same thing. What do we have new this year? ID the mic. Oh, wow. How does ID the mic work? Well, this is what it is. Boom. This is what ID the mic means. This is what it does. How to activate it. Boom, boom, boom. Like, you have it. Like, if you put it in there and it's in the menu, that's not wasted development time. Like, you're telling people what it is. You got to tell people what it is that they can use, so in that way they can actually use it. But like you said, with the pass protection and things like that, people have to the game has to make you want to use it. If I can block you pretty much the majority of the game without having to slide protect, why am I going to slide protect?
Exactly.
If I can block you the majority of the time without IDing the mic, well, I need to ID the mic. I mean, it's that simple. It's not, you know what I mean? So it's like the fear element, which we all have seen get nerfed every single year.
Every year.
The fear element that makes us have to protect the ball when someone comes with a hit stick. That makes us want to get skinny going between tackles. That makes us want to make the zone adjustments and such. All that stuff gets watered back down. So it's like, so how are we going to play this tougher game? And you guys are second guessing the value of mechanics, but we don't have to use them. We did have to use them at first. Remember, Sim, we was at EA Play. the zone coverage was tighter.
Bruh.
The man coverage was tighter. And we was like, yo, I got to use this target passing. When the game came out, no. You know what I'm saying? And it never got back to that. So that's what I'm saying. There has to be reason. You got to give me reason when I play. Why do I need this? That's like having a melee weapon in Call of Duty. Why do I need it? If I'm a sniper in close quarters, what do I need to have a knife for? If I could just quick scope everybody all day and that's it, I don't even care about a knife. I'm just going pow, pow, pow. That's it. But if you give me the value of having that knife or adding a bayonet onto my gun, now you're giving me value to me having a long range class shooter, and I'm in a close quarter situation, and you're giving me that reason, and plus I have to use it because more than likely if they got an SMG going up against me and I got I got my sniper rifle, they're gonna win. So I have to use that knife. You're making me use the mechanic. So that's the point I'm talking about. It's got to be that psychological trigger that says, oh, I got to use this. What button do I hit? If I'm getting stuck behind the line all the time, right? Man, I need to use that get skinny mechanic. Because I'm not getting between these tackles and I keep on falling over and over and over. But see, that ain't in the game though. Because what do people say? Man, I keep falling over my lineman. Oh, this is a problem. No, get skinny. You got the mechanic. We put it in there for that reason. That's just like what I said before about my man from UFC. People complain and, oh, I can't do this and why can't I do that? Well, I told you, that's not how they do it in MMA. Oh, but in UFC too? No, but we went for the authenticity of the sport here. So therefore, this is why it is the way it is. That's the bottom line. So it's like you have to make me use it. Make us use it. That way, yeah, you'll see the utilization numbers skyrocket because you built it to make us use it. And that's the main thing. Like, now I'm not saying that pass protect, slide left, slide right, all that stuff. It works. It works. But do I truly have to do it? No, I really don't. You know what I'm saying? I truly don't. So that's all. I just want to add that, man.
Man, I always use the same scenario, and I will be using it until I see it matter in Madden. Von Miller versus Michael Orr in the Super Bowl. I guarantee you, if the game stays like that, oh, I'm going to slide protect. Oh, and I see them overloading that side, and Vaughn is over there too. Yeah, I might want to ID where the pressure's coming from. And it's just that simple. Like, yes, I fully agree with what Sonny was saying. Fully agree. And I fully agree with 757 is saying here in the comments. We know it. There's a lot of people that don't use the mechanics that you could definitely use that is to your favor. But at the same time, I want more emphasis on these mechanics needing to be used. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, boy, you better use that, or okay, don't do it, and I'm gonna keep sending the heat. You know, like you need to have, and I know that's getting into our sim bag a little bit. You know, the extreme sim guys that like they call us. I want that kind of stuff. Where guess what? Now, when I play the Rams, and all of a sudden they've acquired Sue, and they put him in the middle. Imagine them running a nickel, and you got Sue and Aaron Donald in the middle. That's a problem. How is that going to be replicated in Madden? I'm waiting to see that. This is what we're saying, guys. Now I might want to leave my back in there to block. And if it ain't Le'Veon Bell, who's great in pass blocking, let's say it's James Conner. For those diehard Steelers fans, I'm going to throw a bone at you guys. Remember the first game against Jacksonville? When Roethlisberger threw the interception trying to throw it to Vance McDonald? Why did it happen? Because James Conner got smashed trying to pick up the block. And Ben sailed it. Bam, interception. Next thing you know, you don't see James Conner for a few more weeks. Pass protection, folks. Same reason why people want to know why Fitz Toussaint still has a job. Because he can actually pass block. Might not be the best black. Best black. Whoa, whoa. Whoa. Best back. But he can pass block. I mean, these things matter. I know 757 probably going off right now because this guy played pro ball. He know what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? I want to see that replica. I want these type of things to be so in my face that I'm like, oh man, I forgot. Oh Lord, I forgot J.J. Watt was over there. Okay, let me slide over. You know, it needs to be that dominant. Oh man, that's Bouye and Ramsey out there. Oh Lord. You know, like now I got to change it up. And I know that's kind of off the cuff a little bit, guys, but y'all know what I'm saying. I mean, you could just tell how much we get emotionally charged when we talk about what the game could be. You know, that ratings thing and all that stuff, they got to find a better way to even replicate that. Why do I not want to go at Ramsey? Is it just because he has a rating, or is it because he's a big boy? He's a big corner with speed. Why do I not want to test Bouye? Because he's actually, in my opinion, he might be a better cover corner than Ramsey. Pure coverage. See what I'm saying? But you don't get that. All you get is 91 zone. Especially if you playing in MUT. Because what y'all don't know, that don't even exist in CFM. I bet y'all ain't know that. That threshold don't exist. They get better, but you don't get that magic threshold in CFM. That's a MUT thing. But, yeah, man, we could go on for days about this stuff, Smitty, man.
Yeah.
Bottom line, make the mechanics matter, make the gameplay matter, and make sure people understand what these mechanics do and why they should use them. That should solve the problems right there. Sounds simple, right? I know it's not, but it sounds simple. So let's move on to the next topic. Oh, boy. I know everybody is trying to figure out what in the world am I talking about with that title. So where do you draw the line with simulation gameplay? I'm going to kick it off because Smitty might not even know exactly the angle I want to take on it, but I'm sure he'll fall right in line. So I'm playing MLB The Show the other day, right? I posted a video. And I want you guys to answer this in the comments as well. And the guy who left the comment might be in here watching. And if you are, I appreciate you. He tells me that guessing the pitch is not simulation. So I said, wait a minute. Before I commented back, I had to sit back and say, wait. Is he on to something or am I tripping? So then I responded back to him to the effect, I said, well, the way I have it set, because I've found this playing MLB The Show 18, I have my setting, I forget the terminology, so y'all don't hold me to it, but you can have guess the pitch on, and you can have classic or dynamic, something like, you can have different ways of guess the pitch. The way I have it on now that I love, and I didn't even realize this was an option last year, it'll tell you in general. It'll tell you in general where it is, right? Like it'll say, okay, you've chosen the fastball high. And I might say high left corner. But it doesn't mean it's going to be a strike. See, the way when I played it in MLB 17, and maybe I had it on this setting by default, every time I guessed the pitch, it told me exactly where it was going to be. It was never a ball. Like if I guessed it, it was either strike or it told me that it was going to be a ball. So I could just sit right here and don't even swing. Oh, that's a ball. Now, because I think I have it on dynamic and I love this, I could guess the pitch. But guess what? It still might be a ball. So I still have to visually look and see where the ball is going to end up. I just have an idea. So here was my reply back to him. I said, well, I get what you're saying. I said, but it doesn't tell you exactly where the ball is going to be, as well as in real life. I'm pretty sure batters, I know I did when I played baseball, I'm trying to anticipate on where the ball is going to be. That's guessing the pitch. So it brought me to this analogy. Have we become, like, where do we draw the line as far as what's simulation and what's not? I mean, at some point, we have to understand it's a video game. Perfect example. How many of you guys really played a full season, heck, even a full game of first-person football when it was in 2K5? Just think about that. Let's be honest. How many of you guys played a full game? I ain't even going to say full season. Maybe some extreme people may have. All right, I'll give you one even more updated. Remember that beef everybody had with Backbreaker? Man, they just fixed the camera. Man, I would love it if I could just get the Madden view. But here's my point, guys. It's still a game. Like, at the end of the day, I'm as much of a sim guy that I am, I still understand we're playing a video game. It's not going to be able to replicate me in the helmet to the 100%. It's just not, unless I'm playing first-person football. And let's face it, that's not fun. Now, Smitty and I, a lot of times we rock Madden out in the Zoom camera. I like that camera right there because I like being feeling like I'm on the field, but I still can see. But think about that. When you played football, for you guys who played, this was my viewpoint right here. If I'm looking straight, I can see, like, from where I was lined up at strong safety. Let's just say when I was on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm the tailback. I'm looking right at my quarterback, right? For you guys who never played football, and I know you guys are going to say, okay, Sim, stop being elementary. But, you know, some people don't know. You right behind the tailback. And sometimes we'd be in a single back, and sometimes I'll be behind the fullback. So let's just say I'm behind the fullback. I can see the fullback. See my quarterback. I see my center. I see the guards. See the tackles. See the tight end. I can see the slot. Now, if I want to see both of my split outs, I got to kind of turn my head a little bit. But in my peripheral, I can see him, but I can't see him. I can see the defensive end right there. I see the two tackles. And I see this defensive end. I see the middle linebacker looking right at me, thinking he going to get a shot on me. It ain't going to happen, bro. I see strong side or weak side, whoever. I can even see the safety. I'm always looking at the safety, pro tip, as a running back, because in my mind, I'm always going to get to the second level. That's just how I thought. If I ain't get 100 yards in the game, I ain't do good. So in order for me to get a 100-yard rushing game, I probably got to average about 8-9 yards a carry, which means I'm going to be in the second level. Now, if I can get to him, he's not going to tackle me. That's my mentality now. Listen, I didn't score 30 touchdowns a game. I'm just saying, this is my mentality. Bro, if you come up, you're done. There's no way you're going to tackle me. I'm either going to give you one of these, I'm going to give you a little head movement, or I'm just going to run over you and embarrass you. The fourth quarter, you don't want to tackle me no more anyway. So I always know where he at. And I can see the corners, and I can see the strong safety. I can't see the rest of the field. I can't see the sideline. I can't see none of that. You see what I'm saying? So in order to get that view, you got to put a helmet on me and put me on the football field. There's no way I can get that view sitting in my TV or behind my computer playing the game. So my point is, man, are we really battling whether or not guess the pitch is sim or not? Like, I mean, come on, man. I mean, even in MLB The Show, depending on what batting stance, what camera you're using, it's fairly hard to guess what pitch it is, even if you don't use it. Sometimes you see that curveball a little too late, or that changeup look like it's right there, and you swinging that air. But I'm just saying, I mean, that's a good argument. Don't real batters try to guess where the ball is going to be? So how is that not replicating? I don't know. I just think we get a little too crazy, guys, in the gaming world. I mean, I think these beautiful graphics and games like FIFA really spoil us gamers, because now we're really pushing the boundary. Like, Oh, you can do that. Oh, I know you can do that. You know, we really are asking for stuff that's really hard to do. I mean, I'll say this last piece and then I'll throw it to Smitty. Again, man, reflecting back on a conversation I had with Scant at EA. And I was like, yo, man, how can we get the DB and wideout interactions to be more independent and thinking on the fly? He was like, Sam, you know how hard that is? He was like, think about what you're asking for. You're asking for both the offensive and defensive player. Now, just one now, like 1-to-1, one receiver and one DB. We're not even including if it's a double team or if somebody else is in the area. We're asking for both of them to recognize that the ball is coming, both of them to try to figure out where's the best point to get to it, both of them to know what their opponent is doing, and then when the ball gets there, we're asking for them to independently fight for the ball and have full awareness of where they are on the field, where their opponent is, the catch radius. And I was like, okay, I got you. Not saying it can't be done, but he was basically saying, like, man, that's, again, 2 years ago at EA Play, remember what Clint said in the interview? He said, listen, video games are not like you and me, because we were standing beside a wall. He said, me and you look at that wall, and we automatically know don't walk into the wall. In a video game, you have to program it to not do that. And when you look at it from that standpoint, yes, I'm not giving them a pass. I'm just saying all of these games are hard, man. I mean, y'all seen me stream the other night, and I showed a play in MLB where the second baseman actually warped and tagged my guy. But I wasn't pissed. Y'all remember, you guys who saw it, I wasn't pissed because I was like, well, he was going to be tagged out anyway. But it just goes to show you that there's no game that's perfect. The animations start and end. That's how it works. FIFA just happens to be one of those games that's just doing it a little better than Madden is doing it. And MLB, for the most part, does it a little better than maybe another game is doing it. But it's hard stuff, man. I just think keep fighting for what we want. But, you know, we have to start at some point realizing, look, man, I mean, how sim do you want? I mean, there's no way we can replicate human sports to the fullest. It just can't happen.
Well,
no way. But what you got on that, Smitty?
Well, see, now if I was standing there next to you, I would say, well, what Sim basically just explained, I'd say to Scan, like, well, what Sim just explained was what literally happens in FIFA.
Yeah, so FIFA.
So, like, I mean, because you just said FIFA literally shown in one of their trailers, I want to say it was like maybe FIFA 13 or 14. They literally showcased where the ball was hit, the ball was up in the air, defender tries to head it,
backbreaker,
and the
offensive. Smitty, I wanted to comment on what Neff said. He's right. Backbreaker actually did pull off the on-the-fly thinking a lot better as well. Got to give them a shout-out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, you know, you got a defender that's about to head the ball based off of the position, and you'll see the offensive guy wrap his head around his neck and hit the ball from where he's standing. So he's on the opposite side. He'll come from behind and he'll jump. They both will jump at the same time, but what he'll do is he'll adjust his head to try and get in the path of the ball and hit it, adjusting it on the fly. Human-like reaction. FIFA does it. Do any corner kick situation in FIFA, you'll see it. Yet, matter of fact, you'll see multiple guys get involved. You'll see one guy try to bicycle kick it. You'll see another guy you'll see two guys try to hit it. One guy's going to try and head it away from the goal. The other guy's going to try and head it toward the goal. And then you'll see the goalie come up and try and punch the ball out. See what I'm saying? So it's like,
I don't know how they do it, man. FIFA is the model, boy.
So I can't go off the, man, you know how hard it is. I'm like, you know what?
It's hard. But it's been
with
done.
you. I'm not saying it can't be, but I'm like, you know what? If that's something you guys got to go on the road for a few years to make happen, if it's that much of a challenge, y'all gonna have to go down that road, because you have sports titles in your own house doing it. So I can't fully feel, what did NHL do with their goalie mechanics and everything? It took them years to build it, but they got the static animations. But at the same time, the goalie will independently move their limbs to adjust to where the puck is shot and try and stop it. See what I'm saying? So it took them time to build that out, but they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the key.
That's the point. Is that yes, it would take Madden. See, once again, when Madden, this is once again this whole overarching point. I'm not saying this about the devs or anything like that, but this is more of the community standpoint. Is that Madden gets coddled too much? You have NHL, FIFA, like you just said, MLB The Show, NBA 2K. You got all these games that are further ahead and do all these authentic things in it. But then as soon as we say Madden needs to do it, you got people that get all up in arms. No, but people aren't going to be receptive to that, and they're not going to like it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, FIFA is steadily selling more and more copies. And you know what? Oh, just in a side note, if you didn't peep it, I think after this year or next year, PES's licensing deal is done. Yeah, they're not re-upping. So if FIFA may get that,
blame
EA may get that.
Right. Exclusive rights. EA. They just bully everybody. They just run up in there with the shotty like, yo, give me them rights. Oh man. But
but the thing is that with these games is that FIFA is selling all these units. And yeah, I understand popular leagues, popular sport, all that good stuff. But casuals will pick up FIFA with all the stuff that's in it and they'll play it. Madden, it's like people want this game to take baby steps because they can't handle what's being done. But at the same time, they'll turn right back around and complain all year and say, "Oh, but the game, it's not doing this right and it's not doing that right." I'm like, but you were the same person that were just crying wolf saying no. Don't make it authentic like that. Don't make it that challenging. So what narrative is it that you want? They have to go for it. They have to make it more challenging. You know what I mean? Like, I see people in the chat talking about the vision cone and stuff like that. Those are elements that make the game challenging. Make it a toggleable, toggle it on and off. But at the same time, APF, maximum passing, read and lead in NFL Fever. You could turn it on and off. It's not something you're forced to use. Even the target passing in Madden, it's not forced. You don't have to use it, but it's those levels of more control that make the game look good, especially when you have that control independence. And I'll make this point, and I'll throw it back to you, Sim. Like I was saying earlier, like we were talking about, I was saying in the chat here with some people about FIFA, when we were talking about FIFA earlier and how the game of inches is respected and how you have the animations and how you have a lot of organic play in it and such, right? Well, Live King is in here, and shout out to him.
Yeah,
he does a great job with the live montages. You know what I'm saying? Him and Shady are really the main two that really be doing it. But what was I going to say? Oh, yes. NBA Live, when I see people upload clips on Twitter of live when they're playing 3v3, live run, whatever, the clips that I see people always upload, for the majority of the time, they're uploading clips where the user defender and them as the user ball handler, they're not tied, they're not tethered in any animations.
Mm-hmm.
They're not stuck in two-man sequences. They'll do a spin move left and a crossover right. You see the defender running over here, running over there, jumping too early, all that. And then they take it to the hole, or they'll act like they're going to go to the hole, do a step back, pull up with the jumper, and it looks sweet, right? That's the exact point that we're making about Madden. That's the same point that we bring up about FIFA and all these other games. We say, like, let the game, free the game up. Remove the two-man sequencing, the reliability, remove that. You know what I'm saying? And the game will be much, much better. It'll be a much cleaner game that you're going to be playing. You know what I mean? Where it's relied, where stick skills are reigning supreme, yes. And then your skill as a user is also going to step up, and it's going to matter. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying, man. Like, the more independent these games are, but tangibly independent, not just saying, all right, we freed up animations, but the game looking crazy. I'm talking about have sensible animations in there. FIFA has them.
Yes.
I can do something. I can do a move in FIFA, and depending upon the situation, if I have too much forward momentum and I try to stop on a dime, guess what? I'm crashing into players. It's not going to be a two-man force sequence. I'm crashing into players. However the ball bounces. I may trip, stumble, fall over whomever, and that's just the way it plays. And I'm like, I get upset about it, but at the same time, I love it because I get upset about it because he fell over. I'm not mad that it happened because it made sense. That's just like anybody in the chat, when we watch our teams play, and we see, whether it's basketball, football, whatever, when we see players make mistakes, when we see guys not make tackles and everything, there's a narrative there. We could look at what happened on the field and say, why did that happen? Oh, okay, I see why. He didn't have good footing underneath him, and look at what happened there. I could say the same thing in FIFA. I can, to an extent, say the same thing in live at times. And you can say that with Madden at times, but because the game relies so much on the two-man sequencing, that gets nullified. So,
yep. Man, a couple points, man. I don't want to forget them, so I kind of scrolled back up in the chat to make sure I don't forget them. One of the things here that 757 said, and I wanted to address it, because it was stated publicly, so I can definitely say that yes, this is supposed to be a thing. The question is when. But he basically said it seems like they're not sharing tech, and question is, are they? Will they? I can definitely confirm that is the goal. Absolutely, that's really what the Frostbite integration was for. No, NHL's not on Frostbite, but I'm sure. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know anything about NHL. Maybe it will be this year. Who knows? NBA Live, we know it. Live 18 wasn't on Frostbite, but again, if we go back and listen to what the investors said, I mean, even when Madden came on Frostbite, they said as much. The goal is to get all of the games on one engine so they can share technology. Have we heard this before? Yeah, we heard this before with Ignite. Ignite didn't really do it. Yeah. But I've heard that yes, and I mean that this is the goal. So the first thing that I want to see is I want to see them start pulling these intangibles from the game. I would like to see them start with things like interactions and player movement. That, to me, I feel like is one of the best things to attack first, and then start taking the other little components. If you can share tech, I mean, does that mean that we can get the same type of sliders that NHL has? I don't know. See, I don't know what the depth of what that means.
Right.
But knowing that this is the thing that they want to focus on, I need to start seeing this happen now that you're over. Okay, first year, okay, I guess it took a while. And it's going to be the same thing with these other games when they come over. They're going to get over the Frostbite or whatever, and you might have a rough patch. But after that, I want to see all of that come into fruition, because here's another scary thought. We already hearing talk about a PlayStation 5. And as much as I'm cool with it, great. Bring out another console, and if it's worthy of us getting it, maybe. If not, I'm good with the Pro. But we all know what happens every time there's any type of new technology. Whether it's a game engine or it's a new generation of console. It kind of worries me a little bit. I mean, I will say, Madden 25 got over pretty smooth. I guess we all could agree with that. It wasn't a Madden 06 situation. It got over to the new consoles. Madden 25 on the PS4 and Xbox One. I think they came out around the same time, if I remember correctly. Game played fine. It was a little better than the prior version. So maybe they've gotten over that hump, so that might not even be a problem. But my thing is, man, I don't want to keep having these delays. You've gotten over the frostbite. Now I want to start seeing some assets being taken from a FIFA or whatever other game is on Frostbite. I don't know what else they can pull from as far as sports. To my knowledge, it's just FIFA. But you got your Battlefields. I know people going to laugh at me, Smitty, but I still say, if you have the time, go play that game Unravel.
Oh.
The physics and interacting with the elements in that game was bananas. And of course, the only reason why I played it is because I was on EA Access, and let me just see what this is about, this little yarn or whatever. And I started playing it and was like, wow. Like, how I literally had to use the physics in this puddle and bounce the apple on it. Like, it was crazy. And I'm like, bruh. Now, I know that's two totally different genres, but I'm just saying. You play Mirror's Edge. I mean, it's a lot of different things that you can see that could be pulled from games. Like the mechanics, some of the mechanic stuff in Long Shot. It's a lot of stuff that they could take from, man. I mean, it's time. And I think we need to start with the way they move on the field. That would be my starting point. The first thing you have to take care of how the players move and how the players interact and the control the user has. That to me has to be the starting point. After that, I would like to see a couple bells and whistles as far as gameplay. Maybe we get those jersey pulls now from FIFA. Love to see that. I would like to see the cloth physics from NHL. So imagine having that, right? Imagine having how the NHL suit is on the player and FIFA's jersey grab in Madden. Come on, man. Bruh. Think about the trenches. Think about defensive holding.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I'm just saying, dude. Those are the sprinkles. And you see what I'm saying? This is what the kind of mindset me and Smitty have. Those are the sprinkles after you get the game playing correctly. And when I say playing correctly, again, player movement, animations, how they interact, defense, reacting, then we can start throwing that stuff in there. Now let's add more weight. Now let's add more physics, like really dictating things, and you add in the claw physics and all. Come on, man, the game. I'm trying to tell people this, man. If the suits allow the devs to do everything they want, Madden has the potential to blow your mind away. Me and Smitty have seen it. It's stuff that I know that they can. We've actually heard from them. Can y'all do that? Yeah, we could do that. I mean, not even a blink.
Right.
Oh yeah, we could do that. I'll quote Clint. Clint told me one time, we can make the game do whatever we wanted to do. It ain't even about that. It's about, I know y'all hate to hear it, but it's really about what they are allowed to do in the time that they have. That's it. He straight up said this a couple years ago. Smitty and I was both there. We can make the game do whatever. Like, we can, yes, we can do that. We can definitely do that. We have some of the best engineers. Our dev team is very smart. A lot of us know football. We know what we want. We just got to be able to build it out. So I wanted to address that about the tech. There was something else here. couple other things I wanted to talk about. I think I've forgotten them, Smitty. I'm trying to find them here in the chat. Where is it? I don't know. I've lost my thought, guys. Wait a minute. It was one of these comments here. Commentary. Somebody saying something about commentary. I feel the graphics in this one lag behind AAA single player. Ray says, I feel the graphics in the sports titles lag behind AAA single player franchises. Yeah, I could probably agree with that. I don't know why that might be though, Smitty. What you think? Like, I would assume he's referring to like your RPG type of games, you know, versus sports titles. Like, I mean, we remember how crazy we went over the order. Even then, that I mean, hey, in a few hours, some of y'all probably gonna lose y'all mind when you see God of War. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. Is there a reason behind why maybe some of these games, outside of the fact that they have longer development time, that could be it. I don't know, but is there a reason why those type of games seem to excel a bit more with the graphics than these sports titles?
The RPGs.
I'm assuming that's what he's saying because his question he said statement says Ray Magnon said, I feel the graphics in sports titles lag behind the AAA single player franchise.
Oh, all right, I see that. Yeah, single player franchise, they have years to build them.
Yeah,
they have years to build them. You know, games like GTA. All right, perfect example. People are playing GTA Online right now. I mean, they've expanded that. They've added multiple DLCs, multiple bells and whistles. That game's been out since what? 2013 or something like that? 2014? No, a little bit later than that. But the game's been out for years, and people are still playing that game online fresh. You had to have plans in order to give longevity to a game like that. It's just like a game like, for example, with Battlefield and these are, you know, Battlefield and
just Battlefield.
Or some other game. Just Battlefield. That's it.
Y'all want to call me biased? Yes, I am. That is the game I will openly admit I am full-blown biased when it comes to Battlefield. That is my game of choice.
Hey, you know what? What I love about Battlefield, though, real talk, is that you could get into a conquest and get lost.
Love it.
In it. Like, it's crazy to just spend so much time in it. I'd be in that thing. I'd be to spend nearly an hour in one match and everything. I'm like, oh, snap. I ain't know this much time had went.
Yeah.
But, no, but yeah, games like that. Also, games like the Order and everything. I mean, those are games that took 6-7 years of development. Games, yeah, so it's very beautiful of a title, but you know, and see this is a part right here, London. What you got to also understand is that with a game like Madden and Madden, 2K, and all these games, these guys get stopped in their development because they got to do patches and updates. You see what I'm saying? After the fact. So when they do patches and updates, that cuts into their development time that they can focus on to the next title with. When you're building GTA or Red Dead Redemption 2, that's going to be coming out this fall. You know what I'm saying?
That's my second game on the list. Smitty, most people don't know that because Smitty's known me long enough. He remembers. We weren't really playing online, but Smitty remembers when I briefly had a PS3 and Red Dead.
That
was my bro.
That was it.
Love that game. I cannot wait until that game comes out. Love it.
Yeah. Nah, so that's the thing with it. They don't have 5-6 years or whatever. I mean, what? Red Dead Redemption came out in 2009.
Yeah.
and they're just now coming out with the second part. So I can only imagine how much time they spent, developing and building this game all the way out. So it's a huge difference between those games and sports games because, like I said, you can look at a sports game over a 5-6 year span, and yes, they work on the game, but at the same time, they got a patch update, they got cutoff points and things like that. And when you're able to build a game straight through over and over, like just continuously build, that makes a world of a difference, man.
Yeah.
That's why Sim said it, I've said it, many of us have said it across the board. We love to see Madden have a multi-year dev cycle. Have a cycle where they can have 2-3 years to work on Madden and just have a version out where they just give little updates here and there on it, excuse me. But then they just focus on building that new installment. I love to see them do something like that, but it doesn't work that way. So that's why it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's why like what was talked about, it would be something in the near future if we did see Madden get on that tip like Steam. You know what I mean? Where it's like they got the game, you got the service, you basically are paying for the service, and they just working on updates and stuff like that, but you got the game and everything, and you just keep on rocking with it the way it is. So, but all that makes a difference. Oh, man.
Y'all see me doing all these antics and stuff. It's because I'm watching my Sixers, man. They're getting busy out there. They done expanded the score. I was a little scared, man. Because at first I wasn't watching it when they was down. I was like, I don't want to watch it and get distracted. But now it's 123, 108, 220. I'm hoping they can go ahead and close this one out. They need this game. MB, that mask is crazy. Like it got like 2 layers on it. But yeah, man, I mean, all of that stuff would be great if, they could have a 2-year cycle. And again, like Smitty said, if that subscription thing that we heard about some months ago now, if that comes to pass, maybe that's the door. Maybe that's the open door right there that will help it. I just really think, man, I mean, it ain't even think at this point. It's the absolute truth. It's gonna come down to priority and what is deemed as priority, and we're gonna have to just continue to push. I know people are tired of hearing that, but it's the truth, man. We just gotta keep pushing on and making these guys aware. Listen, you guys who are making all these decisions, y'all got to keep hearing our voices, and we got to keep being the nag or being the gnat at the barbecue. And I know a lot of people keep saying, no, the only way they're going to change is to not buy it. And listen, I don't want you guys to have false hope. Please don't think that our community, it will put a dent in their sales. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's cool if you want to believe in that. And like me and Smitty always tell you, don't buy it. If it ain't for you, please don't. If Madden 19 doesn't come out and deliver, and hold on, guys, there we go, get that rebound. If they don't come out and deliver, don't buy it. Please don't buy it. I want people to stick to their word and don't touch it if it ain't for you. Play other stuff. Look at me. Here I am supposed to be the SimFBallCritic, and I ain't been playing nothing but MLB The Show. I'm having a blast with that game, and it has its issues. From what I'm seeing, I haven't really seen too many of them, but I'm not a baseball guy, so I don't notice all of the knick-knack problems. But that game, you talking about depth and roster management. I mean, forgive me for being novice. I ain't even realized that I had to manage my whole roster, and not just the guys playing on the Pirates. I gotta be looking at my AAA team, my double. I'm like, what is 40-man roster? What is this? Then I'm like, oh. And it's cool, man, because I watch the Pirates and I see a guy like I forget his first name, but his last name is Moroff, and he's actually on my AA team in my league, and he just got injured. So now I kind of like seeing the Pirates game the other day. I'm like, oh, that's the guy. Like, oh, he got called up. So it's kind of cool, having that correlation. But we just got to keep on, man. They got to know the importance of gameplay, and depth for our crowd. You know, and that's just what it's all about. We got a few minutes left, man. Smitty, let me throw this one at you, especially since Live King is in here, because I want to, see if maybe he'll comment. Just some quick shots. I know we might not have thought about it long and hard, but what are some things that we need to see in Live 19? Like some must-haves that you really feel like they need to do X, Y, and Z to get back in the conversation, or at least make us believe that the game is still trending up. Uh-oh. Smitty got stuck. Smitty's stuck, y'all. Hold on. Let me see. He's stuck. So we're on Skype, guys. So what I'm going to do is...
You're stuck.
I'm going to hang up and call him right back. So y'all are probably seeing all that happen. There you go. Yeah, you got stuck for a minute, so I just hung up and called you right back.
Oh, okay. All right. No, what I was saying was that, we need to see a lot more animations, a lot more post-up animations, a lot more dribble animations, signature dribble animations as well. But we need to see the signature style of play across the board. And like I said, a lot more options. Playing in the post, freelance offenses, defensive actions, actually being able to block shots in various ways or contest shots differently. And then, of course, the mode-wise, we need to see the streets mode expand some more. We definitely need to see a lot of work done in the league. From the your career play, your one created character. A lot more options and depth there, but also franchise mode needs to definitely be blown out as well. And Ultimate Team. Look, NBA Live 19 may not be this cash cow kind of game. It more than likely it won't. But at least at this point. But Live Ultimate Team needs to take directly from what they got on the mobile phone. Seriously. Because NBA Live Mobile is cremating what they got on console. It makes no sense how great that looks.
It's lit
over the console. It's ridiculous. This is stuff like, shout out to Prime and those guys, because I was talking to them about this. It's celebrated like, I understand they got to do their promos for the game and stuff and say like, oh, guess who we're unveiling for this week in LUT. And it's like, but you got all these different team you have an old school team of guys, low rated players and everything, and to higher rated players. And you have your current team. And then you also have themed stuff. Like, it's the playoffs. And you got playoff themed stuff going on. You have March Madness going on. You have March Madness themed stuff. Like, all of these different things you have themed within Live Mobile, but yet you don't have any of that stuff on the console though. And Live has been the exact same way in LUT all this time. That's your moneymaker. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's been looking very mundane, but none of that stuff is going to matter if you do not have the animations, which is a point that I made before. Playing with T-Mac, like in 2K, they got Raptors, T-Mac, and Rockets. The Raptors version of T-Mac, he's a lot more springy. He's quicker. He feels more like he's more nimble because he's the younger version. Mm-hmm. Rockets T-Mac, he's a lot more to the ground. He's a little bit slower. He has more of a refined way in terms of how he moves and feels. 2K has that. Live doesn't have that. T-Mac, it's like the number ratings and that's it. But his animations, he doesn't have any specific animations. There isn't anything that classifies him on his own level or own tier. And that's the point I'm saying, like, is that. That's what Live needs to do. And the other thing that has to happen, NBA Live community got to be dang on realistic with themselves about what's going on with this game. You can't have people coming up here lying and saying that Live's got all these things. Oh, it's got everything 2K has. No, it doesn't.
No.
Stop lying. Stop lying. Dudes is lying through their teeth trying to make they try some people, not all, but some people are trying so hard to make NBA Live to be something that it truly isn't. Okay? Live is a fun game. I enjoy it, but the game is lacking so many things on the NBA side of the game. You see what I'm saying? It's not. It shouldn't. This isn't NBA Street. The one. This is called NBA Live. You see what I'm saying? So we need to see that side of the game not be so barren. Because look, Giannis, what's different about him in comparison to other players? There is no big difference. You know what I mean? Him and Kawhi Leonard pretty much feel the exact same. One's a little bit quicker than the other, but they feel similar, and it shouldn't be like that. So that's what I'm saying. The court is what it need to work on.
NBA Playground 2 coming out, gonna blow both of them out the water. Oh man,
I may pick that joint up. The first one was fun.
First one was fun, man, and it didn't cost that much. There you go. That's another example, guys, of a game I played that I paid for it and don't play it that often. So, yeah, I don't have nothing to add to that. I literally don't. Animations, man. Focus on what you're doing well. That's it. Compete with 2K in terms of the fact that you're trying to replicate basketball. Don't compete with 2K in terms of trying to be where they are right now. It's just not going to happen.
No.
And as far as 2K, I'll take the other flip side of it. Smitty answered that, so I'll answer my own question about, let's say, what does 2K need to do? What I want to see from 2K, to be honest with y'all, man, continue to try. I say try because it's not gone, but, they've reduced it a little. Continue to try to separate the animations. Try to remove as many two-man sequences as possible. Keep working towards ball tangibility because that still ain't quite where it needs to be. But honestly, man, that's all they need. Some AI stuff. Get help defense. Get some AI stuff going. Get that a little better. But from just a pure playing the game standpoint, 2K don't need a lot, man. I mean, it's the nagging stuff that me and Smitty have talked about for years.
Mm-hmm.
Those animation sequences that you're getting pulled in and the ball tangibility. And sometimes it's like the ball and the body just doesn't go together. It pays no attention to this guy's arm or head. And I know you're going to have body clipping, but at least if it clips through the body, allow the ball to still react. There's still too many times where it's just no effect to the ball at all. They get that stuff, man, and they work a little bit, with their, Live King, he's right. Their collisions, excuse me, because I actually think Live actually does a better job at that in some scenarios, replicating the collisions and the physics. They do that, man. 2K is out of here. I mean, to most people, it's already out of here, but it's going to be scary if they actually can fix those things to where they're, like, functioning 85% of the time. Like, come on. That game would be nuts. And that's it, man. I mean, yeah. I don't have nothing really to add to the Live thing. They just got to get their animations together. I would like to see them go further with the franchise. But it all starts with gameplay, man. Live, in my opinion, is so far behind from all of the games, even Madden, in terms of the full spectrum. I just think they just need to nail down basketball fluidity and animation quality has to be a key focus for NBA Live. I would say start to get a little more personality as well, even though, we've been asking for that in Madden for years. I think it's way more up in your face with a basketball game. If you don't have no personality in basketball and LeBron is not LeBron and, Kyrie is not Kyrie and, Donovan Mitchell, and coming into this game next year, he don't seem like, it really loses its luster. And 2K embodies that. So, there you go. That's all I got, guys. I think that will wrap us up. Any last things you want to mention, Smitty, or anything else you want to comment on, maybe from the chat before we roll out?
Now, just definitely appreciate everybody, coming through, hanging out with us, dialoguing with us, and everything. That's why we look forward to these shows every week, man. Like, it's a lot of fun, dialoguing with you guys. And I will be back streaming with some kind of consistency. I'm gonna work my way back into it, really starting next week. But I am gonna be streaming this God of War. I'm definitely gonna be streaming that. So, but I'll be back on the sports tip with some stuff, getting that back, get back in the swing of things, because I've been out of it for a while. So I got to get back in the groove. So look forward to that. But other than that, appreciate all y'all cats, man.
I did see my man Lucky. I love Lucky's comments, man. He be so passionate sometimes, but I did want to comment on that. He said they need to trade halftime shows with 2K. Again, man, live to me, I've always said it. That's the best. Maybe y'all don't care about that, but that is the best halftime show. Like, in my opinion. Right now, I mean, you could argue. I know some people can say, "No, man, but 2K5." Hey, 2K5 was great. I love the highlights and all that, but the way it's actually constructed in NBA Live, and I mean, it is in an NBA on ESPN. And, well, to be fair, 2K5 was, Sunday night ESPN football. But, man, right now, out of any game, as far as intermission, halftime, post-game, Live is destroying it. Because 2K actually kind of went away from a better format they had, and they condensed it. I don't like the one they have now.
Yeah.
They just talking, and they're just showing random plays, where if I'm not mistaken, a few years ago, it was more like on point to what you saw right then and there. Live kills that.
Yeah, Damon Bruce.
Yeah, like
that was on the commentary, and it all made sense with the highlights they shown, and that's why I skipped through 2K's show, because none of it makes sense. They'll talk about the opposition, but then they'll showcase you balling, and then when they talk about you balling, they showing them making all kind of plays against you and stuff, and all kinds of mixed up stuff. So doesn't really add up. And it's been like that for a few years now. So yeah, like you said, yeah. So.
Wait a minute. So somebody, hold on. I got to comment on what this guy's saying. Control Tower 53. I mean, it's just his opinion. He's not wrong, and nor are we right. He says it looks good. It doesn't call to action like 2K5. And then he says you're too influenced by ESPN graphics. I beg to differ. Live absolutely calls the action. Like, if you watch the halftime show, everything they're talking about, they're showing that actual play. So you're missing me with that. I could see somebody saying that you like them 2K5 and Live equally, because for that time 2K5 did a great job as well, but Live's halftime show absolutely talks about what's happening then. They talk about the player of the game, they talk about who was cold, they talk about who was hot, they talk about the top plays of the game. So you kind of missed me a little bit by saying that it doesn't, but I don't know. That's your opinion. We have ours. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. The game tells the facts. Though. Let's all go look at the halftime show and decide. But anyway, man, that's it. That's all we got. We out of here. I got to head into DC tomorrow, so y'all know this is the night I got to get myself right into bed. Got to go, but we had a great time tonight, man. Look what we could do with just 2 topics and some random stuff in the chat. We did just about 2 hours. We started about 8 minutes late, but there you go. Every time we say it's going to be short, it ends up being 2 hours. But anyway, man, we'll catch you guys later. We'll see you guys next week. Next week, how about this, Smitty and chat? How about we just talk about the draft? No topics. How about we just start here at 8 o'clock and we all start talking about who's going where, and we can have a nice fun time in the chat. And as guys are picked, we give our thoughts on it. Boom, that should be a good show. We'll just talk about the NFL draft. And I challenge everybody, even though we won't be able to see you guys, wear some of your team apparel, because there's 32 teams in the league, so everybody should have something that they could put on, a hat or whatever, and we'll do it. And if some of you guys want to come on, we'll bring y'all on. We'll talk about the draft picks, so that should be a good show. All right, so catch you guys later. Y'all have a safe, great weekend. Take it easy, and we'll see you guys next week for some football action. Yeah, buddy. All right, guys, y'all be easy, man. Peace.
All right, y'all. Peace.